Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. All right, so sporting my very first quartz analog watch, the Q Timex, and I'm really enjoying it. I've been wearing it about, over 24 hours, and I have a lot of thoughts on it. I can't wait to make a video about it, but that's not this video. In this video, I want to talk about 904L steel. And if you have a Rolex, you have 904L steel in it, right? Maybe, but maybe not. All right, let's talk about steel first. Most watches are made from 316L steel, and it's a harder steel than 904L. You know, I hear a lot of people say, 904 is tougher and it's stronger, and I even think I've made videos about that, but it's actually not as hard as 316L. Where the benefits lie in 904L is it's more corrosion resistant. It has more molybdenum, chromium, copper, and nickel in it, and that makes it much less corrosion prone to things like salt water. And Rolex used to use 316 in all their watches. In fact, if you go back to mid-1980s or before, all of the watches were 316L, the cases and the bracelets. And Rolex started using 904L in the mid-1980s on the Sea Dweller. And they did so because with 316, when salt water gets in between the gasket and the case, it can cause pitting and corrosion. And that's why you'll see often on vintage watches, if you see the case back off and the gasket out, you'll see some pitting around where water and minerals and salt gets wedged in and it doesn't come out, and it can't come out. And that's where the pitting starts, around the seals of 316 cases. So, when it comes to Rolex changing things, they never tell us anything, so we always know it's like around this time that this happened. I mean, they're very secretive of when they do things, and so there's a couple different sources as to how and when 904L steel came about. And I've got a couple of sources. The first one is from Fortain.com, and if you want to check it out yourself, a link in the description. They write, Rolex started using 904L stainless steel in 1985 in the Rolex Sea Dweller, and became more prevalent in the Rolex line starting in the early 2000s, transitioning from 316L stainless. Rolex initially started with just making the watch case from 904L and kept the bracelet 316L. But in 2006, Rolex utilized 904L in both bracelets and watch cases. All right, now a little bit of a different story comes from Business Insider, link in the description if you want to check it out. In 1988, they released their first 904L steel watch with a few versions of the Sea Dweller. So both sources state that it came out in the Sea Dweller model, and but they're a little bit iffy about when that happened. So one says 1985, the other says 1988. So I think the best thing to say is mid-1980s. Business Insider continues, but in around 2003, they moved their entire steel production to 904L steel. So according to Fortain, that was 2006. So I think to be on the safe side, anything post 2006, you can be assured is 100% 904L. All right, but it appears that the 904L was incorporated into the cases first, and the bracelets continued to be made in 316L up until just after the turn of the millennium. Wow. All right, mind blown. So here I've been thinking I had 100% 904L steel, and I've been walking around very likely with 316 steel on my wrist. All right, well, my Rolex is, the oldest one is from 1995. That's the T-Serial 14060. And very likely the bracelet was made from 316L. And my other watches are around, well, they're pre 2003. They're around the turn of the millennium, 1999, 2000, 2002. So very likely, not very likely, but I'll just say possibly, the bracelet is 316L. Wow. That's unfortunate, or is it? Is there a silver lining to this? Well, look, 316L is, it's harder. So it kind of makes sense that it could be actually useful to have a bracelet made out of it, because when it comes to scratches and, desk diving and hitting the clasp, you might want that stronger steel. But when it comes to the case, you certainly do want 904L, because when you're swimming, the saltwater can get in between the case and the gasket, and you can easily wash off a bracelet, not so easily wash off the case and in between those gaskets. And even if you soak a watch, that's not to say that some seawater still isn't trapped around there. So yes. All right. Now, the question is, if you have other models, what's the case? We never know when Rolex changed to 904L for all of the models. I mean, I think it's safe to say that when it's something like a Submariner, no date, Sea Dweller, Sub, that they probably changed to 904 in the case pretty quickly after the mid-1980s. And so I have a feeling that my 14060 does have 904 in the case. I would be shocked if it didn't. But what about things like vintage and pre-2000 date justs? They weren't really, they could handle water and they could handle seawater, but Rolex wasn't really marketing and designing those to be used in the sea. And so the question is, if you've got a 1998 all steel date just, how much of it is 904L, and is the case 316? And, it very well could be the case. This is shocking, right? If there's a way to test it, I would love to know. I certainly don't know of a way to test whether they're 316 or 904, but it's definitely something to think about. And a lot of people are walking around out there thinking that they're wearing 904L, and that might not be the case, including me. So this is very interesting. And let me know what you think. This was sort of shocking to me. I think the one thing that we know is that if you've got a 2007 or later watch, everything's 904L. But again, is if the bracelet is 316L, is that the end of the world? No, it's going to be harder, and really the benefits of 904L are in how it resists corrosion when the watch isn't properly washed. And you can pretty much properly wash a bracelet, but getting around the openings of the case, there's some chances that might be a little bit more difficult, even if you wash and soak your watch after a dive. Let me know what you think. Take care. Thanks for watching. See you next time.